This video is about the
Introductory Paragraph.
Hi everybody, welcome to Thesis Week 2015. This is the week of the year where we focus all of our attention on writing strong, effective introductory paragraphs to persuasive essays. For those with access to the class page, you will find a note-taking skeleton to help you take notes as you watch. Feel free to pause this video at any time to give yourself time to write down some notes. Let's get started. We'll start with a look at the introductory paragraph. At this level, the expectation is that your paragraphs will be between 6 and 9 sentences long. They may sometimes be longer, but they should almost never be shorter than 6 sentences. In a persuasive essay, an introductory paragraph can be divided into 2 parts. The first part is called the background information. The second part is where we write a thesis statement. Let's focus our attention on the first part of the introductory paragraph, the background information. This part of the essay has 2 purposes. The first purpose is to hook your reader, and the second purpose is to prepare your reader for the essay to come. The purpose of a persuasive essay is to convince your readers that your opinion or interpretation is correct. To do that, you want to make reading your essay as easy as possible for the reader. You want to make it as easy as possible for your readers to agree with you. Effective introductory paragraphs both set the scene for the reader and entice the reader to keep reading. Another term for background information is context. The opening of your persuasive essay provides your readers with information that they will need to know in order to understand and agree with you. There are 2 ways to provide context. The first is to provide an historical background. Historical context is writing a fact-based background about your topic. For example, if I were writing an essay about John A. Macdonald's performance as Prime Minister of Canada, an historical background would provide biographical information about Sir John A. This type of background gets your readers thinking about the specific topic of your essay. The second way to provide your readers context is to provide a thematic background. This is a trickier strategy, but if you can master it, your introductory paragraphs can be spectacular. The way to write a thematic background is to choose an overarching theme related to your topic that your readers can keep in mind as they go through the essay. Going back to our John A. Macdonald essay, a thematic context would be to describe leadership and make some statements about effective and ineffective leaders. This type of background information gets your readers thinking about the issue you will be discussing in your essay. Both types of background information are effective and can be used to hook your readers and to prepare them for the essay that is coming up. Feel free to pause the video here to review your notes before moving on. The next part of the introductory paragraph, and the part of the essay after which this week is named, is the thesis statement. There are 3 characteristics that you must remember for effective thesis writing. The first is that it should only be 1 sentence. Second, it should be the last sentence of your introductory paragraph. That way it acts as a springboard into the body of your essay. The last characteristic is that the thesis is the point of your essay. The thesis explains the argument you will be making, and it should answer the question being asked. Because it is quote-unquote the point of your essay, the upside-down triangle is often used to visually represent the introductory paragraph. A thesis is made up of 2 things, and I've created an equation for it for all the mathematicians out there. The equation is thesis equals opinion plus evidence or criteria. By that I mean a complete thesis statement includes the author's opinion, which is stated clearly, and the evidence or criteria that the author is going to present in the essay that follows. Let's go back to Sir John A. Let's say that my opinion is that Sir John A was a good leader. For the opinion portion of my thesis statement, I could write, Sir John A. Macdonald was an effective Prime Minister. Now, the simplest way to connect the opinion and the evidence and criteria is to use the word because. There are more sophisticated ways that we can discuss later, but for right now, because will do. For the other portion of my thesis statement, I should be referring to my PRISM categories for evidence or criteria. Because I can organize information using these categories, I'm already prepared to use them to defend my opinion and organize my essay. So using my PRISM categories, I decide, and again, this is just an example for demonstration purposes, I decide John A. was an effective prime minister for economic, political, and social reasons. The evidence criteria portion of my thesis statement could read, because of his political, social, and economic contributions to Canada in the first decade of its existence. Now I have a complete, effective thesis statement. I've expressed my opinion and indicated to my readers the reasons on which my opinion is based. When I attach a thesis statement like this to the end of a context-providing background information, I have written a very effective introductory paragraph. Or have I? Because how can I tell if my thesis statement is effective? Yes, I could have 2 parts in my thesis, and yes, I could have background information that, knocks a thematic introduction out of the park, but the whole thing could still be ineffective. Before I go on with the rest of my essay, I must make sure that my thesis is effective. And the answer is simple. I must think to myself, does my thesis answer the question? I can reread the question and then reread my thesis. If my thesis is an answer, I can move on. If my thesis is not an answer, I need to try again. There are a few more details about introductory paragraphs in persuasive writing that I should identify, and they're all style-related details. First, the reason why the upside-down triangle is such a great visual representation of the introductory paragraph is that it reminds us that the opening sentences of our introductory paragraph can be broad statements. But as I advance through the background information, I should be narrowing my focus right down to my thesis statement. Second, in a more formal piece of writing, like a persuasive essay, do not use personal pronouns. There is no I, my, me, or we in a persuasive essay. If you must refer to yourself, say the author or this author. Do not refer to yourself in the first person in a piece of formal writing. The last style note is about the order in which you identify your criteria or evidence in your thesis statement. They should be listed in a deliberate order, and they should also act as a type of roadmap for your readers. In my example, my criteria were political, social, and economic. That means my first body paragraph should be about political information, my second social, and my third economic. If my body paragraphs are out of order, that's confusing for my reader, and I don't want to make my reader work any harder than I have to. If my essay is too much work, my readers will probably stop reading, and that's bad news. To decide which paragraph should go where, consider this rule of thumb. Your strongest evidence or your strongest body paragraph should go last. You want to finish on a high note. Your weakest evidence or your weakest body paragraph should go second. Basically, we want to bury that one in the middle of the essay. Your first body paragraph or your first set of evidence then should be your medium strength information. In my example, I buried social in the middle because John A.'s treatment of First Nations and Métis peoples was, well, to put it simply, it was brutal. Okay, but this thesis is just for demonstration purposes, so I put that weak evidence in the middle. My strongest argument would be his economic contributions, so that goes last. Before you leave this slide, please realize that this strategy for ordering your evidence or criteria means that you must plan out your essay before you write your thesis statement. Or, when you finish writing your essay, you should go back and make sure that your criteria are in the right order. Now let's review. Different words from this video are going to appear on the screen. When a word appears, pause the video and take a moment to tell yourself what you know about that word and introductory paragraphs. For example, when background information appears on the screen, you can pause the video and remind yourself what background information is, what its purposes are, and what the 2 types of background information are. You can use your notes to help you. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you found it informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise them in class. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thank you.